Hi, this is Jennifer S. Lewis, CEOE, coming to you from the University of Southern Mississippi here in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, with today's Tuesday tip on accessibility and remediation. So some of you join me for the Practically Speaking about accessibility webinar as part of the NAB webinar series. For the rest of you, I wanted to kind of share a quick overview of things you need to be looking at as you move toward making documents accessible or remediating them, as it's otherwise called. So the first thing you want to look at is document structure. The screen reader has to understand what levels there are. It's almost like making an outline. So the best way to do that is to organize things using either headings or styles. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of how that works. So here you see a document. Having some text here. So if you were trying to make it accessible, you'd want to make sure that everything on the same level has the same heading. And if it's on a different level so that the screen reader should know it's less important, you want to use a higher number heading up to 6 levels. You also want to turn the text into normal. And you can also use different styles within this whole toolbar. Now, the most important thing about these styles are obviously I don't necessarily want my text blue, so you can right click on that and modify. Then you can go in here and change the color. You can change the text size. You can add it to the styles gallery. You can rename it so that it shows up on your toolbar there. You can also automatically update it or create new documents based on this template. What I usually do is create new documents based on this template rather than only in this document, because otherwise you'll just sit there and be creating the same heading in the way you want formatted over and over again. So you want to avoid that. So those are headings and the styles. So the next thing you want to look at is adding text to images. So if you have an image that you're putting in here, let's say we insert a real quick image. And it doesn't have to be anything. Just insert this dog picture. Well, it needs to have some alt text on it. So what we're going to do is scooch down and edit alt text. Sometimes it will automatically describe it for you. And so here you see a dog looking at a camera. I don't know that that really is too accurate. You want to be as descriptive as possible. So maybe a brown, a reddish brown dog with a yellow or orange vest. Sorry, I'm a little bit colorblind. Vest and dog tags with his tongue out. That's pretty descriptive. Now, if it was just something like borders or something like that, you would want to mark it as decorative. That's adding alt text to images. URLs. We don't want to put in here the actual website of things. So we don't want to say click. We don't want to say go to www.google.com. You want to have it be descriptive, so Google homepage would be the example. List. You do not want to use tabs or spaces to create a list. Instead, what you need to do is actually go and use the built-in bullets, numbering, or multi-level lists. So if you were doing a list here, you're going to want to go here and back to your, and you could use one of these, or here's your multi-level list and different things. You see here is starting to see some of the headings. Again, it does not recommend to go above 6 levels of headings, and the reason for that is the screen reader will not read further details at that point. So you're not going to communicate effectively if you use more of the headings. Tables, you want to insert the table using insert table. The most important thing probably is this, and I think this is also a very excellent tip in terms of tables as a whole. So you want to go ahead and select how many tables you want. Then you're going to click that first row, table properties, and row, and repeat header row at top of each page. So that means if I keep going, and I just keep going, when the next page starts, that first row is going to repeat. So then I will not, whoops, there it goes. I will not lose an understanding of what is in this table, because otherwise the person who's the screen reader is not going to know what column A meant, or B, or C, because we have so many other rows before it. So that's the one thing you want to do. And then header row checkbox, repeat header row. So that was that right there. And again, I'm going to go in table properties. Let's see what other things we wanted to do. There's no other settings that you need here. You could put alt text to describe something about the table if you'd like. But in this case, the table will actually show up when you go into PDF format. Because remember, you're going to actually make it accessible in Word and then go back and redo it, check it again in PDF, and then make any changes you need to make it make sense in PDF. Okay, so the next thing you're going to look at is color. The biggest thing is you want contrasting colors. You don't want colors that are too light, because the person will not be able to see it if they have any issues, as well as you don't want to convey meaning with colors. So if you're trying to put red, the person who is blind, the screen reader, won't read that it's red font. So you don't want to use it to convey meaning. So if you want to emphasize things, you're going to have to make some information, add some information so it's clear what you're trying to emphasize. How to fix PDF accessibility issues. After you actually use the accessibility checker in Word, and that is actually located under File, Options. Where'd this go? Hold on. Always have to think about where it is. It just doesn't quite make sense. It's File Info. Check for issues, check accessibility, and there it's going to go in there, and it's going to run the accessibility check. It says no accessibility issues found. But then you're going to save it, and you're going to save it as a PDF. And I'm going to save it on my desktop. And I'm going to make it a PDF. And sometimes it doesn't like it. And that is the issue with having Adobe as an add-in, is that sometimes it is not too happy about the situation. So I'm going to try this again. Okay, now it did work. So now we have this version right here. And we're going to run accessibility here. If you don't see it on your tools, this is Adobe Pro, so you have to have Pro to have this work. You'd have to go to Tools and More down here, and then add the accessibility in. And you always want to run full check. Everything that's already pre-checked is fine. It does have 3 issues. Title, it almost never has a title, so you want to fix that. So right here, you would add the title in, Test Document. PDF accessibility. And then you would click on that. That passes. Color contrast is a manual check, so you're just going to see. Honestly, I don't really like it for color contrast, so I would have to fail it and go and change the font color. Blue and white isn't enough contrast, and you can see already it's kind of bleeding in, especially when the font goes under 12. Then it becomes very difficult to see, so I would not pass that. Logical reading order. When you're putting those headings in there, it actually puts little boxes around it and tells you what it's going to read. So it does make sense. It's going to read all that first, then it's going to read your table, and each page it starts renumbering 1 and 2. So as long as that makes sense, that's good. What I have found is sometimes things will get clumped up, and so part of a table cell will be by itself as number 3. So you want to get rid of that, make sure the whole table. If you have an issue with something, you want to highlight it like this and click on whatever it is. So then table from that case. And so you're just trying to resolve all the issues. And again, one of the most important things I can share to you is if you have an error that shows up, definitely go to YouTube and type in Adobe PDF and that specific text of what the error says. And then you will actually see videos that will tell you the type of situations you're in and how to fix them. And then best practices for creating accessible documents: create your original document in Word, make that document accessible, convert to PDF as a PDF, not as a picture, run accessibility checker using Adobe, and then fix your accessibility issues in Adobe Pro. And of course, I wanted to share with you a couple of these cheat sheets. And I can share this PowerPoint with you if you email me. But for instance, if you go to this site right here, Alley Remediation Cheat Sheet, it's got a big table. It's showing you how to fix different issues. No headings. And it has a video about fixing minor heading issues and explains that you can't skip from heading 2 to heading 4. You have to be at heading 3. Color contrast issues, it gives you a tool here. So that would definitely be something. Your language is something you often have to set. You want to make sure you understand that. And it has just a little bit of everything in there. And it also has it for PDFs, PowerPoints, images, and HTML errors. And the most important thing I want to share about the PowerPoints is to make sure that you use the templates that are built in and use the appropriate layouts. If it's a title slide, use the title slide. Don't try to be creative. Don't try to do something strange, because all those are already configured to be accessible. So that's the most important thing. And probably the other most important thing is that if you are not sure what order things are in, you want to make sure that you go to Home, Arrange, and Selection pane. I'm going to find the Arrange and Selection pane to see the order that things are in. And sometimes it's hard to find that little piece. And it shows you the order. There it is. Selection pane. So you see Arrange, Selection pane. It shows you what it's going to read. So it's going to read this placeholder first. It's going to read the title second. So what I would do is fix that by moving the title first. And it can read the shape third. That's fine. But see, little things like that are going to be important. And again, that was under the Home, Arrange, and Selection pane. And then I'm going to share one more of these tools, the University of Virginia site. And what they've done is basically put together a lot of accessibility documents from different institutions. You see, they've got Portland, which is very well known for accessibility, University of Arkansas, and they've got the person here who does complex remediations. And a lot of these folks are really kind. If you call them and ask them a question, they may be willing to assist you. This is a brand new field, and a lot of them are just kind of working their way up, and they're, a couple of years before they were in your position in terms of trying to understand remediation, especially if you tell them you don't have any resources on your campus and you're just trying to facilitate this for your campus. They tend to be pretty receptive to that. These other ones are also great. Illinois, Maine Department of Education, and National Center on Disability Access and Access to Education. And I've got all these sites here. And again, if you would like a copy of this PowerPoint, please email me at jennifer.lewis@usm.edu if you have any questions. I will make time to respond. I know a lot of us don't have the resources on our campus to assist with this, and so I'm very excited to have a better understanding of this and be able to share what I know. And likewise, if you want to share something with me, I'm more than excited to learn more as we continue to move forward with our remediations. Thank you.